Your mind is either your greatest ally or your most brutal enemy. And the choice is yours. Right now, thoughts run wild like untamed horses, dragging you through fear, doubt, and distraction. Today, you seize the reins. Today, you become the master of your own mind, or remain its slave. The battle needs no weapons, only will. Engage it. The mind you possess is the most powerful instrument in existence, yet you have never learned to command it properly. You have been given dominion over the greatest force in your life, yet you surrender it daily to random influences. And this ends now. Mental mastery is not a luxury. It is the fundamental necessity for any achievement worth having. And understand this truth immediately. Thoughts become things. Every condition in your life began as a thought. Your present circumstances are the physical manifestation of your previous thinking. Your future will emerge from the thoughts you entertain today. This is not philosophy. This is the iron law of mental causation. The average person allows approximately 60,000 thoughts to pass through their mind daily. Of these, an estimated 40,000 are negative. This is mental anarchy. This is the abdication of your sovereign power. This is the unforgivable sin against your own potential. You must establish order where chaos now reigns. Make no mistake about the gravity of this situation. An undisciplined mind creates an undisciplined life. Scattered thoughts produce scattered results. Mental wandering guarantees worldly wandering. The unfocused mind is the architect of failure. You cannot expect success while allowing your thoughts to run in all directions like frightened rabbits. The anatomy of mental anarchy. An uncontrolled mind is a factory of sabotage. It mass produces excuses, manufactures fears, and ships out regrets. You would not let a stranger dictate your life, yet you let stray thoughts do exactly that. The first step to control is recognition. Your mind is not you, it is a tool, and tools must be mastered. Your thoughts operate by their own momentum unless deliberately redirected. Like water, they follow the path of least resistance. They repeat patterns established through habit. They avoid challenge and seek comfort. Left ungoverned, the mind defaults to preservation, not growth, to safety, not achievement. Every thought you entertain leaves a physical trace in your brain. Neural pathways deepen with repetition. You are literally carving your mental habits into your physical structure. When you permit negative thoughts, you are not merely having a bad moment. You are constructing the architecture of your future mind. The undisciplined mind becomes its own prison. It builds walls of limitation, bars of doubt, and locks of fear. It becomes both the jailer and the jailed. You feel trapped, precisely because you've allowed your thoughts to construct your confinement. The key to freedom lies in recognizing that you built the prison and you can demolish it. Your mind constantly seeks evidence to support its existing beliefs. It filters reality to confirm what it already thinks is true. This confirmation bias is the great enemy of growth. It will maintain your limitations unless you consciously intervene. Mental anarchy perpetuates itself through this self-reinforcing cycle. The voice in your head that offers reasons why you cannot succeed is not your friend. It is not your protector. It is not wisdom. It is mental insubordination. It is mutiny against your potential. You must recognize this voice for what it is, the accumulated programming of past influences, not the truth of your capabilities. Most people never question the validity of their own thoughts. They assume that whatever arises in their consciousness deserves attention and belief. This is the fundamental error. Your thoughts are often visitors, not residents. You must establish immigration control at the borders of your mind, the discipline of selective focus. You cannot stop the waves of thought, but you can choose which ones to serve. Focus is not elimination, it is selection. The mind is a garden. You are the gardener. Weed out negativity. Cultivate purpose. Water with intention. The harvest is inevitable, but only if you tend the soil daily. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. Every thought you entertain consumes mental resources. These resources are finite. When you allow attention to scatter across worries, doubts, and distractions, you deplete the very power needed to create your desired life. Selective focus is not optional, it is essential. The focused mind cuts through problems like a laser through paper. The scattered mind dissipates its power like a light bulb illuminating empty space. Which do you choose to be? The power of your mind increases exponentially when concentrated on a single point. Mental focus is the prerequisite to all achievement. Your brain processes approximately 11 million bits of information per second, yet your conscious mind can handle only about 40 bits. This means you are consciously aware of roughly 0.000004% of available information. Selection is not just beneficial, it is the inescapable condition of consciousness. The only question is, will you select deliberately or by default? You must train your mind to distinguish between productive and unproductive thoughts. Productive thoughts lead to solutions, actions, and growth. Unproductive thoughts lead to paralysis, fear, and stagnation. Every thought must justify its presence in your mind. Does it serve your purpose? If not, it must be dismissed. The ability to maintain sustained focus is becoming increasingly rare in a distracted world. This makes it increasingly valuable. While others scatter their mental energy across 1,000 trivial concerns, the disciplined mind concentrates its force on the essential. This difference alone separates achievement from mediocrity. Focus requires both attention and elimination. You must simultaneously direct your mind toward your objectives and away from distractions. This dual action creates the mental environment necessary for achievement. Like a camera lens, your mind must focus on the subject and blur the background. The power of mental austerity. You entertain every thought like a guest, even those that poison you. Stop the open house policy. Guard the door of your mind. Admit only thoughts that build, strengthen, and elevate. Evict the rest. Your mental space is sacred. Treat it as a fortress, not a playground for chaos. Mental austerity means living with thought poverty before accepting thought pollution. It is better to have fewer thoughts of higher quality than many thoughts of questionable value. Quantity of thinking is vastly overrated. Quality of thinking is vastly underrated. Simplify your mental diet and watch your mental strength grow. Your mind responds to decisive commands. It respects authority, especially your own. When you tolerate mental intruders, you communicate weakness. When you expel them immediately, you communicate strength. Your mind must learn that you are in command, not the random thoughts that attempt to occupy your attention. That negative thought you coddle, it is not a guest, it is a hostage taker. That distraction you entertain, it is not harmless, it is a coup in progress. You are the sovereign of your consciousness. Act like it. Depose the tyrants of fear, crown the kings of purpose. The throne is yours, but you must seize it. Mental austerity requires vigilance. The moment you relax your guard, old thought patterns rush back in. They will present themselves as familiar friends. They will offer comfort and ease. Do not be deceived. They are saboteurs returning to undermine your progress. Maintain your standards without compromise. The strength of your mind is measured not by what it can accept, but by what it can reject. Anyone can entertain every passing thought. It takes mental fortitude to deny entry to those that do not serve. Develop the power of ruthless discrimination. Your mind is not a public square, it is a temple. Negative emotions are signals, not destinations. Fear indicates caution is needed. Anger indicates boundaries have been crossed. Sadness indicates loss requires processing. Extract the message, then release the emotion. Do not build a dwelling where only a signpost was needed. Mental austerity means taking the lesson without carrying the burden. The ritual of reprogramming. Control is not a one-time event. It is a daily drill. Every morning you boot up the system of your mind. Every night you debug it. Affirmations are not mantras. They are commands. Visualizations are not daydreams. They are blueprints. Reprogram the software and the hardware of your life will follow. Your subconscious mind cannot distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and actual experiences. Both create similar neural patterns. Use this to your advantage. Repeatedly visualize yourself succeeding, and your brain begins to accept this as reality. The gap between visualization and manifestation is smaller than you think. Morning and evening represent the gateway hours when your subconscious is most receptive to programming. During these times, the barrier between conscious and subconscious is thinnest. Establish rituals that plan specific instructions during these critical periods. Seed your garden of thought when the soil is most fertile. Affirmations must be phrased in present tense, positive terms. I am statements carry particular power. They do not request or suggest, they declare. I am disciplined strikes directly at your identity. When repeated with conviction, such statements begin to restructure your self-concept from the foundation up. The subconscious responds to repetition above all else. A single command makes little impact. The same command delivered with emotion and persistence eventually breaks through resistance. Mental reprogramming requires patience. The mind yields to persistence more readily than to force. Your physical posture affects your mental state. Stand tall and confidence increases. Slump and doubt grows. The reprogramming ritual must include physical alignment. Command your body and your mind will follow. The connection between physical stance and mental state is bidirectional. Use it deliberately. Words carry vibrational force. When spoken aloud, they impact both speaker and environment. Silent affirmations have power, but voiced declarations multiply that power. Speak your intentions with authority. Your ears hear your voice, creating a feedback loop that reinforces the programming. Whispered intentions yield whispered results. The ritual of reprogramming must become non-negotiable. It is not something you do when convenient. It is something you do without fail. The undisciplined mind seeks excuses to avoid mental exercise. Override this resistance. The days you least want to perform your ritual are precisely the days you most need it. The mental battleground. Your mind is a battlefield. You are the general. Claim command or surrender to mutiny. There is no neutral ground in this war. Every thought either serves your advance or supports your retreat. Audit your thoughts now. Execute the traitors. Promote the allies. Most people forfeit this battle without realizing war was declared. They assume thoughts arise spontaneously and deserve automatic acceptance. This is the fundamental surrender. Challenge every thought. Question its origin. Examine its loyalty to your purpose. Court-martial those found working against you. The battle for mental sovereignty is not won in a single engagement. It is a campaign requiring daily victories. Each time you redirect a negative thought, you win a skirmish. Each time you maintain focus despite distraction, you secure territory. The war is won through accumulated small triumphs, not a single dramatic conquest. Fear is the preferred weapon of the undisciplined mind. It will present worst-case scenarios as certainties. It will magnify obstacles and minimize resources. Recognize this tactical maneuver. Fear is rarely based on current reality. It is almost always projection. Counter with present moment awareness. Fight future fears with present facts. Doubt is the strategic reserve of mental resistance. When fear fails, doubt is deployed. It works through subtle suggestion rather than direct alarm. Perhaps you're not capable is more insidious than you will fail. Combat doubt with evidence. Document your successes, however small. Build an arsenal of proof against doubt's insinuations. The untrained mind loves to catastrophize, to extend current challenges into permanent disaster. This catastrophic thinking paralyzes action. Counter it with perspective. Few failures are fatal. Few setbacks are permanent. Few challenges are as insurmountable as they first appear. Refuse the bait of exaggerated consequences. The mental battlefield has terrain features. Fatigue creates vulnerability. Hunger weakens defenses. Loneliness opens supply lines to negative forces. Physical health directly impacts mental fortitude. A wise general secures the physical terrain that supports mental operations. Neglect your body, and you compromise your mind's defensive position. The conquest of concentration. Concentration is the art of bringing your full mental force to bear upon a single point. The ability to concentrate determines your effectiveness in every arena. The scattered mind accomplishes little. The concentrated mind accomplishes much with less effort. Develop concentration, and you develop power. Begin concentration training with small intervals. 5 minutes of absolute focus is better than an hour of divided attention. Set a timer, select a single object to focus, a goal, a problem, a task. Bring your mind back each time it wanders. This simple exercise builds mental muscle with each repetition. Concentration deepens through stages. First comes the ability to exclude obvious distractions. Next comes the ability to maintain a single train of thought. Then follows the capacity to examine a subject from multiple angles without deviation. Finally comes the power of sustained, penetrating attention that reveals hidden dimension. A concentrated mind generates solutions that remain invisible to scattered thinking. Problems that seem intractable to ordinary consciousness yield to the force of sustained mental pressure. Like a magnifying glass focusing sunlight, concentration intensifies the power of thought until it burns through obstacles. Modern life conspires against concentration. Notifications, interruptions, and the cult of multitasking sabotage this essential skill. You must make a declaration of independence from the tyranny of distraction. Create sacred space and time for undivided thought. The world will not readily grant this. You must seize it. Concentration reveals that many apparent obstacles are merely thought constructs. When subjected to the heat of focused attention, they dissolve. What remains are the genuine challenges requiring action. Concentration separates the imaginary from the actual, allowing you to direct energy where it will produce results. The practice of concentration eventually reveals a paradox. The most powerful concentration ultimately feels effortless. Initial stages require force of will. Advanced stages flow naturally. The strain diminishes as skill increases. This is the sign of mastery. Not the absence of effort, but the perfection of it. The discipline of mental diet. You would not consume poison, yet you regularly consume toxic thoughts. You carefully select physical food, but carelessly accept mental garbage. Establish standards for your mental consumption. What enters through your eyes and ears becomes the substance of your thoughts. Inspect all deliveries. The information age presents a mental nutrition crisis. Quantity has exploded while quality has imploded. The undisciplined mind gorges on whatever appears before it. The disciplined mind selects its information with discrimination. Be ruthless about your mental diet. Intellectual malnutrition produces psychological disease. Negative news, cynical entertainment, and trivial social media form the junk food of mental consumption. They offer immediate stimulation, but long-term depression of mental function. They create addictive patterns that make constructive thinking increasingly difficult. Cut them from your diet. Replace them with material that elevates and expands. The books you read form the foundation of your thinking. Choose them with extreme care. One profound book, deeply absorbed, creates more mental power than 50 books skimmed. Seek works that have stood the test of time. Modern publications often sacrifice depth for novelty. The disciplined mind requires substantial nourishment. The conversations you entertain directly impact your mental state. Negative people drain your mental energy. Complaining becomes contagious. Gossip distorts your perception. Select your conversational partners as carefully as you would select business partners. Your mental capital is at stake in every exchange. Create periods of information fasting. The constant intake of external content crowds out original thought. Silence is not empty, it is fertile. Some of your most valuable insights will emerge only when you stop the incessant flow of outside information. Give your mind space to digest what it has already consumed. Your mental diet includes not just information, but environments. Physical spaces carry psychological influence. Cluttered spaces create cluttered thinking. Noisy surroundings fragment attention. Beautiful settings elevate thought. Be as selective about where you think as you are about what you think. The practice of directed thinking. Most people believe they think when in fact they merely remember. True thinking is directed, purposeful mental activity, not passive mental wandering. Thinking is a skill that must be developed through deliberate practice. Begin by assigning specific questions for your mind to solve during dedicated periods. Directed thinking requires clear instructions. Vague questions produce vague answers. How can I improve my life? Yields little. What 3 actions would most increase my productivity this week? Creates focus. The quality of your thinking depends directly on the quality of your questions. Sharpen your inquiries. The untrained mind avoids difficult problems. It seeks premature conclusions to escape the discomfort of sustained thought. Resist this tendency. Develop the capacity to hold questions open, to examine them from multiple perspectives, to sit with complexity. The answers that come easily are rarely the most valuable. Directed thinking moves through specific stages. First comes clarity about the question. Next comes gathering relevant information. Then follows analysis of that information. After analysis comes synthesis, the formation of new connections. Finally comes application, translating insight into action. Skip no steps in this process. The power of directed thinking multiplies when applied consistently to the same subject. Many abandon a line of inquiry too soon, just before breakthrough. Commit to thinking deeply about your most important questions over extended periods. Insights accumulate and compound. Persistence rewards you with exponential returns. Learn to distinguish between productive thinking and rumination. Productive thinking moves towards solutions. Rumination circles around problems without progress. One builds, the other destroys. One creates energy, the other depletes it. Direct your thinking toward construction, not just consideration. The highest form of directed thinking combines logic and intuition. Logic provides structure and verification. Intuition provides creative leaps and hidden connections. The disciplined mind develops both faculties and brings them into harmonious partnership. Neither alone is sufficient for masterful thinking. The soirregularity of self-direction, you are either self-directed or other-directed. There is no third option. If you do not consciously choose your direction, external forces will determine it for you. Market pressures, social expectations, and others' agendas fill any vacuum created by your indecision. Claim sovereignty or accept servitude. Self-direction begins with self-acknowledge. You must determine your values, define your purpose, and establish your priorities. Without this foundation, your mind becomes a ship without a compass, driven by every wind of circumstance. The undisciplined mind cannot maintain course because it has set none. Your desires are either consciously selected or unconsciously absorbed. Most people want what they have been conditioned to want. Their desires are not their own, but implanted through external influence. The sovereign mind examines each desire. Is this authentically mine? Does it align with my true purpose? The difference between the extraordinary and the ordinary is the implementation of intention. Both may possess similar capabilities, knowledge, and opportunities, but the extraordinary individual operates from deliberate purpose, while the ordinary drifts with circumstance. Mental sovereignty requires unwavering intention. Self-direction demands courage above all other virtues. You must be willing to stand apart from convention. You must be willing to pursue your vision despite criticism. You must be willing to accept full responsibility for outcomes. The sovereign mind does not seek permission. It grants itself authority to proceed. Mental sovereignty is not selfish. It is necessary for genuine service. You cannot give what you do not possess. You cannot lead others if you cannot lead yourself. You cannot elevate those around you while remaining a slave to undisciplined thinking. Your self-mastery becomes the foundation for your contribution. The ultimate test of mental sovereignty is your response to failure. The undisciplined mind collapses, blames, or abandons ship. The sovereign mind extracts lessons, adjusts course, and proceeds with renewed determination. Circumstances may defeat your plans, but they cannot defeat your purpose. Unless you surrender your mental command, your mind awaits your orders. It is a faithful servant that has been operating without clear direction. Issue your commands with precision and authority. Accept no insubordination from stray thoughts. You are the ruler of your mental kingdom. The throne is rightfully yours. Claim it now. Your sovereignty awaits.